Good evening, I'm Jason Vio. Katarina is away this week. Here's what's making news tonight.
We believe that as a Muslim unit, the family should be with the people around them and not in some old age home in isolation.
We're saying we want to be equal. And I think when we're all equal, naturally, that impact is huge.
Definitely the downtown area has been top of mind for us, feeling safe when we go down there.
Thanks for joining us. Students at the University of Windsor are on alert tonight, worried after a second report of someone being followed to their car. The CBC's Jacob Barker heard from students who are asking more of campus police.
A student's description of a scary walk on the Windsor campus, a man staring at her as she left class, wearing all black. As she passed him, she says he ran at her, crossing the street. She says the man tried to get in the passenger side of her car, but she locked the doors and got away. She encouraged others who feel unsafe on campus to use services the school has to offer. Students today were well aware of the news. These two are thankful they walk after their class that ends late at night together, but say others who are walking alone are taking precautions.
For a lot of our friends, like yesterday when we were talking about like the situation that happened, a lot of them were freaking out. Like I know two of my friends now carry like a little alarm on their car keys, so yeah.
Yeah, like my one friend walks alone like all the way down like Wyandotte, and like she walks like alone at like 10 p.m. like 9 p.m. and like now she like got like a pepper spray because she's like saw this news and she got like scared.
Others say the uncertainty on campus is enough to keep them away.
I'm a little scared, yeah. I'm probably gonna skip tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just being a woman is like just scary here, so I'm just gonna like not take the risk.
The Student Alliance says this is one of many incidents in which students have been followed on campus, and so they're bringing back their Walk Safe service, where students can call in and get a buddy to walk them to their car. It's available for students every weekday from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m.
I get very scared walking alone at night, so it did help having two other people with me, and then they walked back to where they were together, so it does help.
The university did also point out some of the safety features that it does have around campus to faculty and students today. Things like these blue light posts, which will get students or any pedestrian in contact with campus police directly. It also pointed towards its Safe Lancer app. It gives users one-touch access to both campus police and Windsor police, and it will also hook students up with a virtual walk home feature, which will enable campus police or a friend to follow walkers online to their destination.
I feel like it should be more like broadcasted that like we're available. Like I feel like there should be like signs on campus so like you know the number like if you're like looking around at night.
Both campus police and university administration refused to answer questions today. But in a statement, campus police encouraged people to report any incidents of concern and added that it would add more foot patrols at the university. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
Today is the first day for people to vote in the upcoming municipal election. An advanced polling station is open at the Capri Pizzeria Recreation Complex, and that's where we find the CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa. Jen, what has advanced polling been like there?
Well, Jason, there's been quite a few people going in here behind me to go and vote. And I was here around noon today, and there was actually a lineup at points around the outside of the building. A little bit different now. It's a little bit quieter here. But someone that I spoke with inside who's running the poll says that they're actually seeing an increase in the number of people that have shown up here today. And this is the first advanced polling station in the city ahead of that municipal election taking place on October 24th. Here's what was really top of mind for voters.
The biggest issue is regarding the hospital on County Road 42. We want it to be built as soon as possible. As you know, that what we witnessed in the COVID time, right? There was a long waits in the ERs. I am in favor of affordable housing because, you know, at this time the kids will not afford the house.
The experience of homelessness in this city is quite top of mind for me and my family. The drug use, those sorts of things.
I'm concerned about traffic flow, which is not the biggest issue in the world, but it's one that really is important for our city. And in particular, speeding in areas that are actually residential. And some of the candidates are supporting speed bumps that will slow down traffic, and I hope that actually is one of the things that happens.
Why is that something that matters to you?
Well, first of all, there was a child hit in front of our house by a speeding car, and they're going to put some calming traffic bumps in to save that problem. So you know, we don't want it to happen again.
So a wide variety of issues talked about there, Jen, and today there also happened to be a new report that addressed some of those issues, It graded the city. Tell us a bit about that report.
Yeah, so the Vital Signs 2022 report came out today, and that's something that the Windsor Essex Community Foundation has been doing for the last decade. And it's something that ranks the city on 11 issues based on survey responses from community members. This year, almost 1,000 people responded to the survey. Some of those issues included things like employment, health, safety, and housing, among a variety of others. And basically, the main theme for Windsor this year is we're doing okay, but we could be doing better. So that's a C grade across the board. And the issue with the lowest score was actually housing. It got an F, which is a failing grade. In 2018, housing had a C grade. So really, it hasn't improved much since then. Here are the priorities that the foundation really found had changed over the last 10 years.
Mental health has really taken a top priority. And we have seen that evolve over time, and I think after COVID, it's not really a surprise, but the community was reflecting that even before COVID hit. Under work and employment, a priority that has risen over time is providing a living wage. And so there used to be more emphasis on lowering the unemployment rate. It's still a priority, but now people are interested in providing a living wage.
And some of the other things that the foundation says it's seen changed, especially as we come out of those peak pandemic years, were things related to food security. So being able to access healthy foods, transportation, the ease of getting around the city, and then homelessness. And all of these issues are definitely top of mind for the people who are coming to vote at polling stations just like this one. This one will go until 8 p.m. tonight, and then the next advanced polling station is at 10 a.m. on Saturday at Micmac Park. Jason.
Thanks so much, Jen. The CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa reporting live tonight.
1, 2, 3.
The Windsor Islamic Association Foundation broke ground today on a 30-unit apartment complex geared towards Muslim seniors. The 5 buildings will be on land across the street from the Windsor Mosque at the corner of Dominion and Northwood. The Islamic Association says the project is a dream come true and more than 20 years in the making. There are already 100 people interested in renting the apartments, which will be owned by the foundation. The foundation will then help subsidize the rents to keep them below market value. It's expected to be complete by December of next year.
Taking care of our own people is a big priority because we believe that as a Muslim unit, the family should be with the people around them and not in some old age home in isolation. And to have the opportunity to have them living close to the mosque is a win-win situation because they can come and pray here 5 times a day just by walking across the street at the comfort of not being at risk.
And big news for auto workers here in Windsor. Ford will once again have a 3rd shift up and running. It will be up by January, according to the local union. Now, the news was first reported by the Windsor Star. Ford Motor Company isn't talking today, though. The union tells CBC they'll be building the 6.8-liter engine, and that will be for the F-Series, Ford's most profitable line. Whether you're ready or not, the era of driverless deliveries has begun. And one of the biggest grocery chains in Canada is getting a jump start. It's teamed up with an autonomous trucking company, and they've already made over 150,000 deliveries. And now, for the first time, the driver has been removed from behind the wheel. The CBC's Nisha Patel has more.
You're not seeing things. This delivery truck is driving without a human behind the wheel. Loblaw has 5 self-driving trucks hitting the roads around Toronto and its suburbs, taking products from a warehouse to a handful of retail stores. The grocery chain partnered with an American autonomous trucking company called Gadik.
It's a bit more manageable because you're going on a fixed route between locations that you know. The vehicle itself does that route many times.
The trucks stay on a fixed, predictable route on major roads. If anything out of the ordinary happens, the truck can pull over and a remote supervisor can issue instructions.
We have multiple different sensors on the truck, so multiple LiDARs, multiple cameras, multiple radars as well.
Loblaw and Gaddick started the pilot project with a safety driver back in 2020. There have been no accidents. After getting the green light from provincial regulators, they've gone driverless. The safety driver has moved to the passenger seat for now.
We have the luxury of choosing the best possible routes, the safest possible routes.
Gaddick predicts driverless trucks will be 30% cheaper than regular ones in just a few years. For companies like Loblaw, that could eventually mean cost savings.
To address the driver shortage and meet the demands of the end consumer, this kind of technology, this kind of solution is very critical.
But you won't see these trucks making deliveries to your front door anytime soon. Loblaw isn't delivering directly to customers. Experts say while highways are okay, neighborhood streets aren't ready.
It should be a long, long time. I don't think that we have any breakthrough on somehow replicating human brain and the way that we think and do judgments. I don't think that we are there.
Still, the driverless deliveries are a step in that direction. And for those on the road, seeing this may take some getting used to. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
The OPEC Plus alliance of oil exporting countries will slash production to boost prices starting next month. The decision comes as oil trades well below its summer peaks due to fears that major economies like the U.S. and Europe will sink into recession. Global energy prices have swung wildly since Russia invaded Ukraine, fueling the inflation that is squeezing economies right around the world. Higher prices could help alliance member Russia, which is facing an import ban by the European Union, but they could deal a major blow to the already struggling global economy. There's a new alliance at Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare with the sole goal of improving diversity and inclusion for staff as well as patients. What started out as an anti-Black racism task force following the death of George Floyd 2 years ago has evolved to represent everyone in the BIPOC community, LGBTQ people and those with disabilities. I went inside to see how they hope to change the hospital.
You knew you were being thought of, I guess, without being there.
That's how Martin Thompson feels walking through the underground tunnels of Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare. Murals paint the walls and almost each one has a person of color. Representation, Thompson says, is often missing.
Seeing it was, I guess it hit a spot because you realize it again. Like I said, somebody consciously made that effort.
Now, as chair of the new Equity, Diversity, Inclusion and Indigeneity Alliance, he hopes to create more change.
The things I hear and see that I've experienced, the majority of it isn't hateful, but it's ignorant.
One example of conversations he hopes end through education and awareness, assuming he knows someone simply because they're Black.
The person's not necessarily being inherently racist, but they're not understanding that it can be insultive to assume all Black people know one another.
Recruiting from more diverse communities, making internal policies more equitable, and making patient care more inclusive are all ways the hospital says this alliance could make things better.
It's a huge undertaking. It's a big responsibility, but it's one that we believe is inherent in being the institution that we are.
CEO Bill Mara says he wants to ensure this process isn't just checking a box, but something that creates meaningful change.
You got to have some courage and conviction here. The courage to look at everything, the conviction to make change.
To help with that, they've hired an external consultant with a medical background, but also experience in culture and teaching.
It does start with that inward work, because once you work on the culture of an organization, everyone who engages and encounters that organization experiences their culture.
Once the tone is set internally, she says the changes will spill over to how patients experience Hotel Dieu.
You can't say to your patients, this is a safe space, when you don't feel safe yourself.
Eventually, some of the more than 30 diverse voices that make up this alliance will be around the decision-making table. So next time upgrades are made, Thompson says it could include things that may have been overlooked in the past.
We might be at the table to say, hey, is there any way, we can have some money put aside for a smudge room? Things that may not come to the table without that voice there thinking in that way.
Goals and scorecards will be used to see how this diversity alliance is making a difference over time. Staff and patients likely won't notice any changes until next year. In other news, Hockey Quebec says it has lost confidence in Hockey Canada and will no longer be transferring funds to the sport's governing body. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says it's clear the organization's executives don't get the seriousness of the situation.
It boggles the mind that Hockey Canada is continuing to dig in its heels. Parents across the country are losing faith or have lost faith in Hockey Canada. Certainly, politicians here in Ottawa have lost faith in Hockey Canada. It's no surprise that provincial organizations are questioning whether or not they want to continue supporting an organization that doesn't understand how serious a situation it has contributed to causing.
Hockey Quebec is the first provincial or territorial organization to express no confidence in Hockey Canada. The Federation's board adopted a motion saying it does not believe the organization's current structure can change hockey culture. And CBC News has learned that back in July, Ontario's federation requested that Hockey Canada no longer take its registration fees. That federation said today the request was never processed and it will be making it again in light of Quebec's move. Hockey Canada continues to vigorously defend the leadership despite widespread criticism of its handling of alleged sexual assaults and the way money was paid out in those lawsuits. And there was even more pressure put on Hockey Canada today by one of its biggest sponsors. In a statement to CBC, Tim Hortons says the organization needs to take strong and definitive action before it can regain the faith and trust of Canadians. We're deeply disappointed in the lack of progress that Hockey Canada has made to date. We officially informed Hockey Canada this week that we have pulled out of all men's hockey programming for the 2022-23 season, including the Men's World Junior Championships. We continue to fund Canada's women's and para hockey teams as well as youth hockey. And back to local news, as Jennifer Lagrassa told us earlier, today is the first day people can vote in the municipal election in those advanced polls. Windsor Morning's Nav Nanwa is interviewing the people who want to become the city's next mayor. Here's part of his chat with Benjamin Daniluk.
Benjamin, you've never run in an election before. Why are you running, and why are you running for mayor?
I'm a little concerned about where our city's heading. You know, as I was mentioning a moment ago, I started working in 1999 at the old steakhouse. I was 15 years old, you know, and we've just seen a massive decline in our downtown core. A lot of our infrastructure has been starting to fall apart. I mean, we do see them repair some roads, but, you know, we keep seeing, you know, some of the same strips at Tecumseh getting done over and over. And, you know, we see roads that aren't that bad that are getting repaired. Meanwhile, roads 2 blocks over are like horrendous. And it's like, why are we not focusing on the worst roads first, you know, and moving on from there? And you know, we have an ever-growing homeless problem. And, yeah, we've just seen a lot of issues going on in the city.
So, did you wake up one day and you had this revelation that I think I can change Windsor and I should run for mayor?
Well, it was the biggest things were when they announced, you know, this $8 million glass building for a trolley, the $32 million glass canopy they want to put on our riverfront, and it was just like, you know, we have real problems that need fixing. Like, why are we building decorative, massive projects when we need to fix the real issues?
We've obviously heard from a lot of our viewers and listeners about some of the problems that are top of mind for them heading into the municipal election. One of the ones that's come up quite a lot is that a lot of Windsorites want to feel safe in the areas that they live in. They want to feel safe in their communities, even specifically as most recently as downtown Windsor. I'm curious, what's your plan for that, to look at safety and ensuring that communities are feeling good?
Well, we got to look at each area individually. You know, you can't just make one plan for the entire city because everything doesn't work the same in every area. You know, some areas are worse than others. Some areas you got some types of problems. Other areas you have other problems. So, you know, for example, with like our downtown core, you know, walking my dogs down the riverfront there, you see a lot of patches where there's no lighting at all. You're walking in like almost pitch darkness, and you know, that's not very safe for people, not making people feel very safe. And you know, especially with the violence we've been having downtown, I feel that, you know, at least in our downtown core, we should be putting up like monitored security cameras. So if we need to get people, you know, police in action in time, you know, we can do what needs to be done before problems happen.
So more surveillance in downtown. In
the downtown area, somewhat. You know, if we need more police patrolling the area, you know, whatever we got to do to address the situation.
So would that involve maybe allocating more budget for the police to ensure that there's more people there?
If that's what the problem is, or if it's just people are not in the areas they need to be, or we need to look at the exact, address the situation and, make the correct steps accordingly.
Still to come here on CBC Windsor News Live at 6. Cooler temps are on the way. Your full weather forecast is coming up right after the break. And we're back now for a live look at our local weather. And Josiah, you started doing this and it's almost like you put that chill on a pause. I mean, people were describing today as kind of a scorcher, and we're in October.
That's right. It was really warm for October. Today was wonderful, Jason. And I don't know about our viewers. I was inside all day, but hopefully you got a chance to go out and enjoy that. Let's take a look at that 5-day forecast. A little bit of change in the air. We're still sitting 20s right now, and we're in for a lovely evening with a low of 12. Tomorrow, some showers start coming in, and it's a bit cooler, high of 22, nighttime low of 6, and that cooler trend continuing into Friday with a high of 12 and a nighttime low of 3. A bit of chance of showers both of those days, But looking ahead to the weekend, sunny with highs of 15 on Saturday and Sunday, a little warmer in the evening on Sunday, which is great to enjoy at those Thanksgiving dinners.
Absolutely. And obviously you spend the bulk of your day on CBC's Afternoon Drive, and you did talk to a teacher in Leamington who's having a pretty great week himself.
That's right. That's right. We talked to Butch Rickard. He is the teacher from Leamington. And what's amazing here is he was invited this week to the Chateau Laurier in Ottawa, and he got honored with a National Excellence Award for teaching. So it's almost like being knighted in Canada for teachers. He's taught a lot of courses, but some of those were history and law, and he shared with us that he was totally geeking out at being presented something by the Prime Minister in Ottawa. So here's a photo of that moment. Great chat and great guy.
That's really neat. What is he like as a teacher, though?
Well, he's known for being really hands-on, so he put on a lot of mock trials and simulations with his students, and that kind of allowed him to stand out a little bit, and it was just amazing talking to him. Right now, he's working at the Public Alternative Secondary School in Leamington, helping students at risk of not graduating getting past that diploma finish line. So great guy, great chat, and local connection there with Leamington.
Okay, thanks for bringing that to us, and the weather, of course.
Yes, of course, anytime, Jason.
Still to come here on CBC Windsor News, we'll take you to space, where history was made today. That story is coming up next. Welcome back. The latest flight to the International Space Station made history today. The SpaceX Dragon flight launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The expedition's mission commander is Nicole Mann, who is the first Native American woman to go to space. The 45-year-old astronaut is a member of the Wailaki of the Round Valley Indian tribes in California. The 4 crew members on board are scheduled to spend almost 6 months on the International Space Station. That's it for us here at CBC Windsor News Live at 6. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, for news anytime, though, you can head to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor. And don't forget, we're on social media as well. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The Rick Mercer Report is coming up next. Have a great night.